after this chapter, you will learn the advantage and disadvantage of sole proprietorship. Second topic. After this chapter, you can explain the different type of partners and the importance of partnership agreements. Number 3, you will learn advantage and disadvantage of the partnership. Number 4, you can summarize how a corporation is formed and incorporated from the state government. Number 5, you will learn the advantages and disadvantages of corporations. Number 5, I'll teach you special types of business. The special types of business includes S corporations, limited liability companies, and not-for-profit corporations. Number 7, I will teach the purpose of a joint venture and syndicate and the definition of joint venture and syndicate. Number 8, you can explain, after this chapter, you can explain the firm, how the firm is growing from within the organizations and how the growth of firms through mergers and acquisitions can enable the business to expand and to grow and to achieve the profit. Introductions. This chapter focuses on the specific forms of business organizations. There are 3 most common forms of business ownership in the United States. These 3 forms of business include sole proprietorship, partnership, and the corporations. Next, this chapter outlines the process of incorporations and examine the law of corporations, board of directors. Finally, we will discuss the S corporations, the limited liability companies, and the other special forms of business ownership. Learning objective 1, sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is a business that is owned by one person, that is operated by one person. Sole means one person. Proprietorship means the business. Okay? A business that is wholly owned by a single person, that single person has unlimited liability. Sole proprietorship is the simplest form of the business ownership, and sole proprietorship is the easiest to start the business. Although a few sole proprietorship are large, but have too many employees. However, most sole proprietorship are very, very small type of businesses. Some sole proprietorships of today's largest corporations, such as Walmart and J.C. Penney, that sole proprietorship started out as a sole proprietorship, as a small size, but today become a big size. The sole proprietorship are the most popular form of the ownership when compared to the partnership and the other forms of corporations. But sole proprietorship rank last in the sales revenue. There are approximately 24.1 million sole proprietorship in the United States, shown in figure 4-1. Next slide. U.S. sole proprietorship account for 72% of the country's business firms. Also, sole proprietorship account for about $1.3 trillion, or about 4% of total annual sales. Oh, this slide is not appeared. Okay. Okay. Next topic, advantages of sole proprietorship. Number one, it is very, very easy to start the sole proprietorship and very, very easy to close the sole proprietorship. They're registering the name of a business and obtain business license and obtaining the business permits are the only legal requirement to start of business. Therefore, sole proprietorship does not require the attorney. Okay, please see page 32. Number 2, pride of the ownership. The amount of time and the amount of hard work that the owner invested his or herself in a business, into his or her business, is very, very substantial. Therefore, the owner deserves a great deal of credit for assuming the risk and solving the problems that is associated with operating the businesses. Number 3, 100% retention of all profits. The owner retain 100% of all profit. All profit become the personal earnings of the owner. That is a third advantage of sole proprietorship. Number 4, there is no special taxes for sole proprietorship. The profit earned by a sole proprietorship are taxed as the only personal level income of the owners. Therefore, the owners did not pay the special taxes such as federal income taxes and state government income taxes that corporation do. The corporation must pay the federal income taxes and federal corporated income taxes and state corporated income taxes. However, sole proprietor did not to pay those taxes. That is the another advantages of sole proprietorship. Number 5, flexibility of being your own bosses. The sole owner of a business is completely free to make decisions about the firm's operations. Therefore, a sole proprietor can move his or her shop's locations, can open a new store, or can close the old one anytime without permissions. Other stakeholders' permissions. Next, disadvantages of sole proprietorship. Unlimited liability. Sole proprietor has an unlimited liability. Or legal, the unlimited liability. What is the meaning of the unlimited liability? The unlimited liability is a legal concept. That legal concept holds a business owner 100% personal responsible for all the debt of the business. If business fails, if business file the bankruptcies, sole proprietors, personal property, including saving account and other assets such as his or her home, residential home, can be sized in order to pay the renters, in order to pay the creditors. Second disadvantage is a lack of continuity. If the owner retires, the owner dies, the owner is declared legally incompetent due to the custom, due to the bankruptcy. In that cases, the business essentially ceases to exist. A lack of money. Number 3. Normally, sole proprietor do not have enough money. That is the problem for developing the sole proprietorship. Therefore, the banks, the suppliers, the vendors, and other vendors usually are often unwilling to lend large sum of money to the sole proprietorships. Therefore, the limited ability to borrow the money from the bank, from the lenders, can prevent a sole proprietorship from growing continuously. Number 4, limited management skills. Sole proprietor has limited management skills. That is a disadvantage. The sole proprietor is a sole manager. Therefore, in addition to their sole manager, sole proprietor, is a sole salesperson, sole buyer, sole accountant, and sole janitors. There are a lot of cases. Owner position, employee positions, salesperson's position, accountant position, even janitor's position. Okay? That is another disadvantage. the sole proprietor must have expertise in a number of different areas, such as sales area, buying area, accounting area, marketing area, operation areas. Therefore, the sole proprietorship can suffer in the areas in which the owner is less knowledgeable. Number 5, there is a lot of difficulty in hiring skilled employees. Difficult in hiring the excellent employees. The major disadvantage of sole proprietorship is the limited amount that one person can do in a workday. One way to reduce this effect of this advantage is to have more than one owner. That form is later called as a partnership. So proprietorship has a limited capabilities. Therefore, in order to extend the business, one owner and the other owner combined and operate the businesses for the profit. That is the partnership. Under the United States Uniform Partnership Act, the partnership is defined as a voluntary associations of 2 or more persons to act as co-owners of a business for the profit. That is the definition of the partnership according to the U.S. Uniform Partnership Act. There are 3.4 million partnerships in the United States, and partnership is accounting for about $5.1 trillion in sales receipt each year, shown in figure 4-1 and figure 4-2. This form of ownership is much less common than the sole proprietorship or the other forms of several corporations. Partnership represent only about 10% of all American businesses. There is no legal maximum on the number of partners a partnership may have. There is no legal maximum on the number of partnerships. However, S corporation has the maximum number of shareholders. However, partnership, no limit on the number of partners. Types of partners. Normally, a broad category of partners is a general partner and limited partner. What is the general partner? A general partner is a person who assumes 100% full or full responsibility for operating a business or share the responsibility with other partners for operating a business. Therefore, general partner is just like the true owner, unlimited liability. Therefore, general partners are very, very active in day-to-day business operations. And each general partner can enter into contract on behalf of other partners. That is the one of the disadvantages. According to the Uniform Partnership Act, general partner assumes the unlimited liability for all debt, including even debt that is incurred by any other general partner without one general partner's knowledge or without one general partner's consent. In order to recover these disadvantages, most states approve the limit liability campaign or limit liability partnership. Second type of partners is a limited partner. A limited partner is a person who invests the money into the business but a limited partner has no management responsibility. Or no management liability for losses beyond the amount that a limited life partner invested in the partnership. Okay, difference between general partner and limited partner is that general partner has an unlimited liability, however, limited partners has unlimited liability. That is the difference between the two partners. Okay, the partnership agreement. The partnership agreement is very, very important. Another name of partnership agreement is the article of the partnership. The article of the partnership is an agreement between the partners. This agreement lists and explains the terms of the partnership. The partnership agreement must state the following items. The following items is a requirement elements for forming a partnership. First, partnership agreement should state who will make the final decisions. Who is the chief partners? And agreement should state what each partner's duties will be and the investment each partner will invest and how much profit and how much losses each partner can receive, and each partner is responsible for the business operation losses. That must be stated in the article of the partners. Final requirement is that what happens if a partner wanted to resolve, wanted to close the partnership? Or what happens if one partner is died due to the accident? What can the other partner can do? That must be stated in the article of the partners. Advantages of the partnership. Number one, very easy to start the partnership. No formal documents no formal government filing is required to form a general partnerships. Availability of the capital, availability of the credit is the advantages. Because partners can pool their funds. A partnership usually has more capital money, has more capital equipment, has more capital intangible asset, such as the patent, trademark, professional technologies. These are available total capital are available for the partnership. However, sole proprietorship cannot. Okay? Number 3, person interest. General partners are very, very concerned with the operation of the firms. The general partner are responsible for the actions of all other general partners, as well as for their own. Therefore, general partner has an unlimited responsibility, unlimited liability. Just like a sole proprietor. Fourth advantage of partnership is that partnership has a combined business skill and combined business knowledge. Each partner has complementary skills. Therefore, the weakness of one partner may be offset by another partner's strengths in that area. Okay? Combined. Each business skill, each business skills, combined, each business knowledge. That is the other advantages. Number 5, retention of profit. As in a sole proprietorship, all profit, 100% profit belongs to the owners of the partnerships. No special taxes. There is no special taxes for the partnership. What is the special taxes? Partnership does not need to pay the federal income taxes, state income taxes, did not pay the sales taxes. Like a sole proprietor, each partner is taxed based on only their share of the profit that is stated in the partner stated in the article of the partnerships. Disadvantages of partnerships. Just like sole proprietor. Partnership? Yes, unlimited partnership. Each general partner is legally and personally 100% responsible for the debt, responsible for the taxes, responsible for the actions of any other partner conducting a partnership business, even if that partner did not incur those debts or do anything wrong. However, limited partner risk only their original investment. Many states allow the partner to form more limited liability partnership to cover the disadvantage of limited general partners limited liability. Under the limited liability partnership, a partner may have limited liability protections from other persons' legal actions against the partnership. That legal action is resulted from the malpractice of the medical doctors, malpractice of the attorneys, malpractice of the accountant, or protects from legal action resulted from the negligence of other partners. Next advantage, management disagreements. Each general partner has a different perspective, different thinking, different characters. Therefore, most of the problems that develop in the partnership involve one partner. The one partner is doing something that disturbs, that damages other partners. One medical doctor negligently practice surgery. In that case, the other medical doctor must pay that negligence doctor's fault. When the partner one partner disagree about decisions, disagree about the partnership policies, that distrust may build to point out where it is impossible to operate a business successfully, to operate a business perpetually. Therefore, partnership It is very, very difficult for the partnership to go continuously, going concern. Okay? Number 3, lack of continuity. The partnership is terminated when any one of the general partners died. Any one of the general partner withdraw his or her money, investment money, from the partnerships, or any one of the general partners is declared legally incompetent. I become insane persons. I have mental problems. I lost all my money. In that cases, partnership automatically terminate. That is the disadvantage. However, the remaining partner can purchase that partner's ownership share according to the article of the partners. Last disadvantage of partnership is the frozen investment. It is easy to invest the money in the partnership. However, it is sometimes quite difficult to get the investment money out. The partnership agreement, the article of partnership must outline the procedure for binding out the other partners' share, percentage of ownership. Okay. Third, forms of business is corporations. What is the corporation? There are 2 types of persons. Natural person, just like you, and the other type of person is a legal person or the artificial person. Artificial person or legal person is called as corporations. Corporation is an artificial person that is created by state law. With most of the legal rights of the real natural persons. This includes the rights. Corporation has a legal right to start the business, to operate the business, to buy the property, to sell the property, to borrow, legal right, to borrow the money from the bank, to sue against the other persons, or to be sued from the other persons, just like real natural persons. And corporation has a legal right to enter into the binding legal contract. Unlike the real persons, a corporation existed only on the paper. Okay? Natural person, real person is a tangible person. Legal person or artificial person. Corporation is an intangible persons. These corporations comprise about 18% of all business in the United States. But corporations account for 82% of sales revenue in the economy of the United States. There are about 5.9 million corporations in the United States, shown in the figure 4-1 and figure 4-2. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. Let's start with corporate ownership. What is the corporate ownership? The stock, common stock, represent the share of the ownership of the corporations. Stockholder is a person who owns the corporation's stock. There are two major categories of corporations: closed corporations and open corporations. Closed corporation is a corporation whose stock is owned by relatively few people. And closed corporation's stock cannot be sold to the general public in the financial market. However, open corporation is a corporation whose stock can be sold and can be bought to the general public in the financial market and can be purchased by many individual persons, by many individual investors. That is the open corporations. Open corporation is regulated by the Security Act 1934 and Security Act 1934. Forming a corporation or incorporating corporations. The process of forming a corporation is called as an incorporation. Incorporation refers to the process of the forming corporations. Where two incorporators, a business is allowed to form, to incorporate in any state in the United States that the corporator chooses. Most small business and most medium-sized business are incorporated in the state where they operate the most businesses. California business corporation must be incorporated to the state of the California to the Department of State of California. The decision on where to incorporate is usually based on the following two factors. First factor, the cost of incorporating in one state compared with the cost in another state. Second factor, the advantages and disadvantages of each state corporated law and each state corporate tax structure. For example, Delaware state has lower corporate taxes. Therefore, most corporations are incorporated in Delaware state. There are three categories of corporations. Three categories corporations are domestic corporations, foreign corporations, alien corporations. What is the difference between these three corporations? You must differentiate this type of corporations. A domestic corporation is a corporation that is formed, that is incorporated in the state in which corporation is doing, operating, business in that state. That is domestic corporations. California corporation must incorporate in the state, in the Department of State of California. Okay? What is the foreign corporations? Foreign corporation is a corporation that is incorporated in another state or incorporated in another country and operating a business across the state lines, operating a business in any other state. Example of the foreign corporation. Sears Holding Corporations. Sears Holding Corporation is a parent company of Sears and Kmart. This Sears Holding Corporation is incorporated in Delaware state. Therefore, Delaware, Sears Holding Company is a Delaware is domestic corporations. However, CSO company corporation is domestic corporations in Delaware State. However, Sears corporation is foreign corporations in California State. Okay? Foreign corporations in remaining 49 states except the Delaware State. That is the foreign corporations. What is the alien corporations? Alien corporation is a corporations that is chartered by the foreign government. However, conducting a business in the United States, example of alien corporation is a Samsung Corporation, Deutsches, Volkswagen, Asian company, is the example of alien corporations. Okay? Foreign corporation is incorporated in one U.S. state. However, alien corporation is incorporated in the foreign country. However, conducting a business in the United States territory. What is the corporate charters? Another name of a corporate charter is incorporations of the corporate company, corporations. Okay. Once a home state has been chosen, the incorporators submit the article of incorporation to the Secretary of State. What is the article of incorporation? The article of incorporation is a contract between corporations and the domestic state, in which the domestic state recognizes formation of the artificial persons, legal persons. That is the corporations. Okay? This article of incorporation is often called corporate charters. Usually, the articles of incorporations includes the following information. In order to file the article of corporations, the incorporated must pay the fee to the state, to the Secretary of State for forming of corporations. Okay? The article of incorporation must include the following items: firm's name and addresses, incorporators' names and addresses. Incorporators is usually the secretary. Is called as a secretary. There are 3 required persons for forming corporations: president, chief of financial officers, and secretary. 3 positions are required for forming corporations. Okay? Okay, another item is the 4 purposes of corporations: maximum amount of stock and the type of stock to be issued. there are many types of stocks. Common stock, preferred stock is two main categories of the stock. Another item, rights and privileges of stockholders and length of time the corporation is to exist. Those items must be stated in the incorporations of the article of the incorporations. Okay, stockholders' rights. There are two basic types of stock, common stock and preferred stock. Common stock is a stock that is owned by individual investors or individual firms, invested firms, who may vote, voting right, who may vote on the corporate matters, but whose claims on property and asset are subordinate to the claims of the other creditors, such as the preferred stockholders and the banks and the lenders and the creditors. Okay. Second type of stock is a preferred stock. A preferred stock is stock that is owned by individual investors or individual firms who usually do not have voting rights. Preferred stockholders do not have voting rights, but whose claims on the dividend are paid first before those of the common stock owners. Okay? Generally, smaller corporations issue only common stocks. Stockholders' rights. Perhaps the most important right of owners of both common stock and preferred stock is to share in the profit earned by the corporation through the payment of the dividend. What is the dividend? Dividend is distributions of earnings, profit, and distributions of profit to the shareholders of the corporation. That is the meaning of a dividend. Otherwise includes receiving information about corporations, voting on the changes to the corporate charters, and attending the corporation's annual stockholders meeting. Prox. What is the meaning of prox? Prox is a legal form that is listing issues to be decided in the stockholders meeting and enabling the stockholders to transfer their voting rights to some other peoples, some other individuals. That is the prox. There are too many prox fighting on the annual stockholders meetings. Okay, organizational meeting. As the last step in forming a corporation, the incorporators and original stockholders meet to adopt corporate bylaws and elect a board of directors. The board members are directly responsible to the stockholders for the way they operate the firms. Corporate structures in a corporation's boards, the board of directors and corporate officers are involved in the management of the business. Board of directors is a top governing body of a corporation. That board of members are elected by shareholders on the annual shareholders meeting on December. Okay? Board members can be chosen from within the corporation or from outside the corporations. Board of members' major responsibilities are to set the corporation's goal or develop the general plans or develop the general strategies for meeting those goals and oversees, control, examine the firms of all business operations and operate has a legal right to appoint the officers. Corporate officers are appointed by board of directors. The corporate officers are chairman, are those people, chairman of the board. President is a corporate officer. Executive vice president. Corporate secretary, treasury, and any other top executive officers that is appointed by board of directors. Corporate officers help the board to make the plans to carry out the corporate strategies established by the board, and corporate officers can hire employees, and corporate officers manage day-to-day business operations, day-to-day business activities. Advantage of corporation. A limited liability. One of the most attractive characteristics of a corporate ownership is that the corporations limit each owner's financial liabilities to only to the amount of the money that shareholders has paid for the corporation's stock. Number two, it is very easy for raising capital. Corporations cannot only borrow the money from the bank or the lenders or from creditors, but also raise additional sum of the money by selling their common stock, preferred stock. And number three, very easy to transfer the ownership to the other persons. Ownership is transferred when shareholders, when shares of common stock are sold. Number four, advantages. Perpetual life. Because corporation is essentially legal person and artificial persons or corporations exist independently of its owners and survive them. Number five, specialized management. Typically, corporations can recruit more skilled employees, more skilled, more knowledgeable managers, and recruit more talented managers than proprietorships and the partnerships. Disadvantages of a corporation. Number one, very difficult and expensive. A lot of money for formations. Forming a corporation can relate to complex and cost processes. Number 2, government regulation. A lot of government regulations and increased paperwork. Corporations must register and meet the various government standards before corporation can sell its common stock to the public. Number 3, conflict within the corporations. The pressure to increase the sales revenue to the managers, to reduce the expenses, the pressure to increase the profit often leads to stresses, leads to tensions for both managers and employees. Another disadvantage of double taxation. Corporation profit are taxed 2 times. One time, corporation must pay the federal corporated income taxes and state corporate income taxes. Second time, the stockholders pay their income taxes. Individual income taxes must pay the taxes 2 times based on the one source of earnings. That is the advantages. Lack of secrecy. Because often corporations are required to submit detailed reports to the government agencies and to stockholders. Competitors business can use this open information to compete more effectively against his or her liable companies. As corporations, page 37. Some entrepreneurs choose other forms of organization to meet their special needs as corporations. That one type of organization is S corporation. S corporation is a corporation that is taxed as though S corporation were a partnership. In other words, the corporation's income is taxed only as a personal income of its stockholders. To qualify for S corporations, the firm must meet the following criteria. Maximum stockholders are less than 100 stockholders. Okay? Number 2, stockholders must be individuals, estate, and certain trust. Number 3, the S corporation has no non-residential shareholders, no non-alien shareholders. Therefore, F1 students cannot be the member of S corporations. Next, there is only one classes of outstanding stock. Next, S corporation must be domestic corporations that is eligible to file for S corporation status. Next, all stockholders must agree to the decisions to form one S corporations. Okay, that is the requirement for forming a S corporation. Okay? Become a S corporation can be an effective way to avoid the double taxations while retaining 100% corporation's legal benefit of the limited liability. Limited liability companies is a form of business ownership that combines the business of corporations and the partnership. Commingled, the corporation and the partnership is a limited liability companies. Okay? But a limited liability company, LLC, can avoid some of the restrictions and avoid some of the advantages of those forms of ownership. Advantage can avoid double taxation of corporations, can retain the corporation's legal benefit of limited liability. LLC can provide more management flexibility and fewer restrictions than corporations. The difference between the S corporation and LLC is that LLC is not restricted to 100 stockholders. Not-for-profit corporations. Not-for-profit corporation is a corporation that is organized to provide the social services, to provide educational services, to provide religious services, to provide other services rather than to earn a profit. Example of non-profit corporation is a church, school. Not-for-profit corporation is a corporation with no profit-seeking owners, but rather existed to perform some services to the public. Various charities, various museums, private schools, colleges, and various charitable organizations are organized in this way, primarily to ensure limited liability. Once approved by state authorities, not-for-profit corporations must meet the specific Internal Revenue Service guidelines in order to obtain tax-exempt status. When obtaining a tax-exempt status from IRS, not-for-profit corporations need not to pay taxes. All taxes are exempted. Joint ventures. Joint venture is an agreement between two or more groups to form business entities in order to achieve specific goals or to operate for a specific period of time. Example of joint venture: in order to take advantage of the productions and marketing expertise of General Mills and worldwide presence of Nestle, two companies formed a joint venture called Cereal Partners worldwide. Once the goal is reached, or the period of time elapsed, expired, or project is completed, the joint venture is dissolved, terminated. Syndicate. Syndicate is a temporary association of individuals or associations of firms that is organized to perform a specific task that requires the large amount of capital. Like a joint venture, a syndicate is dissolved, terminated, as soon as its purpose has been accomplished. The business grows from within the organizations. The business growth is a basic characteristics of the business. Most corporations grow by expanding their business operations. Some corporations introduce and sell new products or related products. Other companies expand the sale of present product to new geographic market or to new groups of consumers in geographic market already served. Example, Walmart was started by Sam Walton in 1962 with one discount store. However, today Walmart has nearly 11,500,000 stores in the United States and 27 other countries. The growth through mergers and acquisitions. What is the merger and what is the acquisitions? Merger is the combining of two corporations or other business entitled to form one business. An acquisition is essentially the same thing as the merger, but the terms of the acquisition is used in reference to large corporations' purchase of other corporations. To pay for the acquisition or leveraged buyout may be used. Okay? Leveraged buyout is a financing method that is used to borrow a lot of money to pay for the company being taken over. Although most mergers and acquisitions are often friendly, however, some hostile takeover are occurred. What is hostile takeover? Hostile takeover is a situation in which the management or board of directors of corporations targeted against one corporation for the acquisition. Okay, disapprove of the mergers. Okay, classifications of mergers. There are three classifications of mergers: horizontal mergers, vertical mergers, conglomerated mergers. Horizontal mergers is a merger between firms that make and sell similar products or similar services in similar market is horizontal mergers. Vertical mergers is a merger between firms that operate at a different but related level in the production and marketing of products. Conglomerated merger is a merger between firms in completely different industry, tire industry, glass industry, merger and acquisition. That is referred as a conglomerated mergers. Merger and acquisition trend for the future. The issue of whether merger and acquisition are good for the economy and companies is still hotly debated. Takeover advocates argue that firms that are taken over are most profitable or more productive by installing a new top management team, reducing expenses, or forcing the company to concentrate on the firm's most important business activities. Is the advocate's arguments. Opponent argument is that takeovers do nothing to enhance corporate profitability or productivity. The only people who benefit from takeover are investment bankers, are brokerage firms, takeover artists who receive the financial rewards, financial monies, financial commissions by manipulating the corporations rather than by producing tangible products or services. Most experts predicts future merger and acquisition will be the result of cash-rich companies that is looking to acquire the business that will enhance their position in the marketplaces or in the industry. The analyst also anticipated more mergers that involve companies or investors from other countries. Future mergers and acquisitions will be driven by solid business logics and